Hi and welcome to the channel. In this episode, work continues on the 1978 Corvette Pacecar as I endeavour to prepare it for being made legal here on New Zealand roads. I set myself a deadline, I'm wearing jandals, I'm good to go. Stay tuned and find out if I can make it. Okay, well, the next job I'm going to tackle is the two doors for a couple of reasons. One is that the central lock is not working properly. It sounds like it's trying to work, like something's functioning, but it's not actually locking or unlocking the door. So obviously something needs some attention in there. And the other reason is this door handle here is broken. Which I have a replacement for, so I need to put that on, but also I want a chance to take these covers off and give this carpet here a good clean, which is easy to do with it off the car. So I'm armed with a couple of panel tools and a Phillips screwdriver, so I'm just going to start tearing into this, and I suspect a couple of screws here and there, it'll pop off and then probably lift up out of the top edge of the door here. So let's make a start and see how we go. Just need to keep track of these screws. There's one down here, which is a pretty random place. I wonder if this does actually utilise the push type fasteners into the door, or it's all just held on the screws, but I guess we're going to find out pretty shortly. Handle's got some screws in here. There we go. I've got the door lock knob to take out. It's fine. And another screw under here. There we go. So I guess a pretty common problem with these sorts of handles is there's a lot of weight. You know, it's not a very good design really, because you're pulling from here and you should be pulling sort of from this way further. You know, ideally these would have a cutout here for your hand, so you're pulling from here rather than here. But this is what it is. I say I do have replacement handles to put on, so that's rubbish. That feels all sorts of loose in there, which may be the reason it's not working, or one of the reasons at least. What else? We've got another screw over here. Now the door mirror, I assume has to come off somehow. Yeepers, how does that come out? Ah, so that's it, a little grub screw, and the mechanism stays here and just the bezel comes off of that, so that's easy. I'll get that off in a minute. The door handle escutcheon, just a single screw. And I do have replacements for these as well. I could probably paint them, but the ones I've bought have got a little chrome detail around here, so I might as well put those ones on. The door lock, I think that probably comes off with the panel. And what else have I got? no screws underneath. No more screws through the panel. So I think, yes, it's starting to pop off. So I just need to get that wing mirror scutcheon off so that it can come through. It's a tiny little thing. What's it going to be? Try that one. So I get it first time. Little grub screw, there it goes. Just like that. That's too easy. That can get cleaned up. Right, so there you go, and then just the door lock. And how does that come off? Is that just a push fitting? It is just a push fitting. And here we have the door panel. Not in bad shape. All the fasteners are in place. That one there wasn't engaged though, that one's bent over, so that one obviously missed the hole when it went back on last time. Looks like there might be one missing here. So I might get another one for there. Other than some surface rust, which I will take care of probably, it's not in bad shape. So how are we looking here? What have we got going on? Pretty average looking piece of plastic. I will probably be replacing. Not huge amounts of excess. That is not doing anything, I'm sure. I can't get it to move. Okay, so actually this panel here, I can see now, comes off. Half dozen screws to pop that off. Will give me some access. So, steel inner. I learned something new today. So these guides here, I think I'll be adjusting. The passenger side is quite bad. It wobbles around quite bad and it's not coming up at the right angle and engaging in the little keepers here on the door pillar. So, yes, I can see the door lock actuator here now. Wow, okay, alright, well, I will take that panel off now, see what I can do here. Door handle looks okay. It's just the lock that's been a problem, so, and I can't engage or disengage the lock. Okay, well, no point in guessing at this. I will go ahead and pull that panel off and see what I can see. There we go. Cover. Right. Again, this just doesn't seem right. I wonder if there's... I'm going to have to Google this and see what I'm missing, but it seems like there's something missing here. How on earth do you get that actuator out of there? And how does this lock work? And this door lock, I can't get this to move either way to engage the lock. Something that is obviously jammed, and that's probably why the actual actuators can't unlock it either. So there it is there. So if I was to take those two bolts out, that would disengage the actuator. But how's the actuator held on? I can feel the electrical connections, I can pull those off no problem. I just can't quite see how that actuator's held on. I think I need to release these two bolts here. I'm just very wary of pulling this stuff out of here because you know all these rods in here, how they clip on to the mechanisms. I just want to get that actuator out and test it. Okay, come on now. Where are you going? And why are you just flopping around? Is that what you're supposed to do? Part of me just wants to spray a bunch of lube down here and get things to free up, but I think it needs more than that. Why would you? Can't be riveted. It must be some other thing. Let me see if I can get some pliers onto that. That's how you give yourself a blood blister on your palm of your hand. Okay folks, well I'm going to pause here for a minute and come back to you once I've figured out what I'm doing. Okay, so I've just connected the battery and you can see the actuator there, little arm sticking up there. So if I work the door lock, you'll see the actuator move, but it's not actually disengaging the lock. So you can see it's moving, but it's not enough to do anything with that mechanism in there, and I suspect it's just because that mechanism is jammed up somehow. So I've got to pull it apart and free it up somehow. Fun. Alright, well, just to update you on these door panels, I did go ahead and dye the carpet. And I've had them off to work on the door locks and electric windows, and they've come up pretty good. Not perfect, and they look a little bit patchy, and then that's more just because of the way the carpet's laying down, but overall they've come up really good. I'll try and insert a picture here of what they looked like beforehand, and you'll see the difference. So for a quick little dye job, they've come up much better. Now it's just a matter of getting them back on. Or actually what I do need to do, and I'm not sure if it's this one, I'll just turn this over here real quick. You can see these, obviously the pins that hold the door card on the other one they're all missing. The metal clips there, but the pins missing, so I've just been and picked a bunch of those up. Got the exact same type on the shelf here, which really surprised me. But what I am going to do is pull these off, just because it annoys me. You can see they've, you know, the little metal tabs that they slot into. Here's one over here without it, so this is what they clip into. They're rusty, so I'm going to pull those off and de-rust those, put a little bit of paint on them, and then put them back on again before I put the new clips on. So here we are, just to finish off that video. You can see I've painted the steel retainers and screwed those back onto the back of the panel and put new trim clips on as well. And so these panels are good to go back on the door. When I pulled these off, as you can see here, there's a screw fixing here and another one up there, where there's two long self-tapping screws that just screw straight into the steel door panel. And I'm assuming it's a factory thing. I don't know. They sort of look factory, like they're both in exactly the same spot on the panels and the doors, and the screws on the inside, you can see just a little bit of a rusty spot there. Actually, that's where the screws go through, and the head just gets hidden inside the carpet. And so, as you can see, as I screw them in, pull them in, it just splits this panel. And so I've just forced a penny washer in there, just so when I do put the screw back through again, it's actually just helps spread the load a little bit on that damaged panel there. I can't do much about that, and I don't think it's really worth it. It's very stiff material. It's just going to stop that screw from wanting to pull right through, hopefully. And I'm hoping that these new clips will do majority of the work anyway. I think these are just a little bit of insurance, I guess. Really don't know, haven't looked into it. I'm just going to put them back on the way they were. So yeah, that's that part of that process done. Also, I'll just show you what I'm doing with the vapor block liners. Here's one of them here, and here's the other one. So that's the plastic liner that goes inside the door. They're probably original, they're very badly deteriorated. So I was able to tape this one together well enough that I could make a template from it, which I can show you over here. I just copied it and cut it out of paper, and I've tested it against the door. It looks like a pretty nice fit. I'm just got to add a few holes where the trim clips go back through it, and you can see that's where the door handle goes through that location there. So most of those holes I'll probably cut once it's on the door, just to get them in the right place. I'll probably just either cut a little hole or just do a cross and let the plugs push through those. However, that'll tidy those up nicely, and to use for that I went down to the hardware store and picked up shower curtain, and this is the material here. Nice thick plastic again. I don't know where you get plastic from, to be honest, usually, but I just had a look around the store and this came to my eye, so I figured that'll work. It's, like I say, a nice heavy plastic, and I'll just trace the outline of that paper template onto this, and I've got two new vapor block panels. There's $10 for the shower curtain, so $5 a side, that's not too bad. And that'll be that job done as well. So currently the doors are looking like this. I've managed to get the locks working quite nicely as far as the switches are concerned. So here's a switch here. If I was to, you can see they're operating really nicely actually. So the lock's working well again on the switch there, not so much on the key. If I was to demonstrate what happens here, it does lock the door, but it does that, and again it does lock the door, I think. There you go. So I'm just trying to work out how this works. You can unlock it and then you lock it. Okay, so it is working, but if you leave it in that location, the alarm sounds, so you got to just turn it that way to unlock it, to deactivate the alarm. So I guess that's what it's supposed to do. I don't know really how it's supposed to work, because I guess it's a tamper thing. I suppose if someone puts a key in there and turns it, it's going to set the alarm off. So I guess, I don't know. I don't know what the thing is. I think it's either you're supposed to unlock it. If someone doesn't know about the alarm, they might not be able to turn it off. But anyway, it's working on the key, which is the main thing. Unlock, lock it, and turn the key back. And I guess that means it's armed. Don't know. I would have thought when you unlocked it, it actually did the electric door locks, so I don't quite understand the function of these door locks, unless it's just so you can lock it from the inside, but then you've got a knob to unlock it. So what is the deal with these locks? I don't understand it, to be honest. Why would you have power locks as well as the physical push-pull lock here that comes through your armrest? Why do you have both? I don't understand it. But anyway, I'm not complaining, because with the electric door locks, it's allowing me to put on a remote module to control the power locks, which is what I really want to try and achieve. And I thought I had achieved. I went and picked up a little module. You can see that down there. I've got it screwed to the door panel. You can see it blinking away. And I had it working, but since I've been mucking around with this door lock here, it stopped working. So in other words, if I was to take this, and I'm not getting power to the lock somewhere, so I've got to mess something up here this morning, I think. So I'm just going to have a play around with the game and see if I can get it working, because it was working on the remote. In saying that, it wasn't working as well as the switch. So if you listen, when I use the switch inside the car here, it's really a nice positive locking motion. But when I was using the remote, it was quite a softer unlock and lock, I guess I'd say. And that's because I believe it's just getting a voltage drop from this module here. I think it's just dropping so many volts through those little wires coming off that the lock doesn't work quite as well. It was working, it was just not as positive as the switch was. However, now it's not working at all from this, so I've messed something up, so I've just got to work out what that is, and then I can call it done, hopefully. So I'll come back to you on that when I've got it working. Okay, so just a little test here, and as you can hear, the car's running, and I'm doing that just to check that it's not a voltage drop from, low battery. And sure enough, that's mostly what it is. It's trying to work better with the motor running and generating some power. So if I was to, that's locked. See, now it's not working again. There it goes, off the button. Locked, but it won't unlock. But if I do the switch, it unlocks no problem. So you can hear the difference. It's so positive off the switch here. Bam bam, it's great. But off the remote, see how slow it is? And that's purely just a voltage drop thing from those little wires. So I think my best option here is to actually try and wire in a relay, try and boost that power up to the switch again off that module. So run a relay off here with a 12 volt permanent live, so that it will trigger the relay. The relay will then feed 12 volts to the lock as it should do. So that's my next move here. We'll try it, see how we go. Okay, so this is where I'm at. I've messed around with adding in a relay to see if that would help get a voltage up to the door lock, and it didn't. So I'm satisfied myself, at least, that most of the issue with the door lock working off the remote being a little bit sluggish is simply a voltage drop. The battery's just not charged up as well as it could be. So with the car running and a few more volts running through the system, it does work better. So what I've decided is just wire it in as is and see how we go, and see if it works as it should. So you can see the module, remote module, bolted up there, and the blue and green wire are the feed for the lock and unlock. And so I've spliced that into the wires for the lock on the car. As you can see, I've got the green and the blue spliced in with the purple and the pink here. Okay, and some bullet connectors. So I've got a nice strong connection there, and then the permanent live is coming off the red one there and doing the same thing to the permanent live on the car. So you can see the little module blinking away in there. So we're good to go. And so again, just as a comparison, here's the door lock switch, and if I was to show you here, that's lock. See, it's a really nice positive switch from the car lock. And now if I go to the remote, which is here. If I now unlock it, you can see it's just a little bit more sluggish, but it is better than what it was. And I think just getting a better connection with the wires for the module to the actual car helped somewhat. So it's working, and I think with a nice strong battery it'll help even more. So I'm happy with this so far. I am going to call that done and button this up, and we'll see how the system works later on down the track. Worst comes to worst, you know, the lock on the actual manual lock here works great. So much better. Like I say, I'm sort of just not being an electrician, and I'm not a big, you know, expert on wiring at all. I'm just going to count on the fact, or my judgment, that these wires are just, you know, just too small. But I've put a voltmeter on them and tested them. They seem to be getting, you know, close to 12 volts out of coming back out of them. So it doesn't really make sense to me, but I've stopped trying to work it out. She's wired in, she's good to go. So the next thing I'm going to do now is work on the plastic liner, which you saw earlier. So I'm going to scrape all this old goo off that was used to hold it on, and I'm going to use double-sided tape to hold the new door liner on, and see how that holds up. So we'll get started with that and see how that fits up, and I'll come back to you then. Okay, just a quick update here, just a slight change of plan. I did have the remote control module screwed on to the inside of the door here, and I decided it was going to interfere with the door panel too much. So I have moved it over to this location here. So we've got this removable panel that goes on the door here, and so there's the module fixed to the back there. So that's now tucked into that recess there, you can see inside the door. Alright, so wax and grease remover. Let's see what you do. I don't think you're going to do it, but I might be surprised. Certainly, yeah, I think it's going to do the trick. The elbow grease always brings things up, doesn't it? I know, so I've got my paper template. Let's see how well this fits. I reckon that's going to be pretty darn good. All I need now is to trace this onto the plastic sheeting, cut it out, and stick it on. And then from there, I've just got to, at least with the plastic I can see through it, I've just got to find out where the holes are for the trim plugs and any other holes for fastening the door handles and armrests and so forth too, and that will finish that door off nicely. I'm happy with that. The old fringe has been used as a workbench. Right, what do we got here? Should get two panels out of this stuff easily. Right, got bunches of material, so Don't worry about that too much. Start with just taping it on in a couple of areas so it doesn't move. Yeah, I probably should go find a fat surface, I think. Right, let's just keep on persevering here for a bit until I get completely frustrated, then I'll do what I'm telling myself to do. So, what happens if I try and trace this? Start from here. I'm not going to get too fussy with this, to be honest, because obviously it's not seen. It's really just there to serve a purpose. So I've got this double-sided tape. At the end of the day, it doesn't need much to hold it on. Once the door panel's on, it's on there to stay. Okay, let's see how we go. So, just come down from the top edge, about 1/4 inch. Only going to get one shot at this, I imagine. So, come down a bit, I think. What do you reckon? Pretty close. You can see might be able to see I'm a little bit shy around here, but we're covering, so that's the main thing. I'm just going to run the tape sort of just right in here for now, and then from there I can peel it up like that and do the front portion. So that's the plan. I think now I'll cut out for the handle, which can be, I'm going to try and do a rounded hole if I can, just to stop the plastic from tearing. That helps things lay down a bit. What do you reckon? I think I'll get the bottom taped, come up about 1/2 inch from the edge with the tape. Once I get that on, I think I can just peel back that last front edge, put the tape in the right place to do that, and I'll be in pretty good shape. Sorry you can't see much of what I'm doing here. Tape off. Now I'm going to fix those hinge pins. I did actually buy a new set of hinge pins for the car because I knew they had creaky door hinges. I don't know, door pins. I don't know if I did lubricate them, but when I first got the car, because I knew that was a bit of a problem. Anywho, stick. Stick, stick, stick. Stick, 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 stick. Righto. That's the front edge to do. Does the trick, I guess. Okay, now got some holes to cut. And I hope that's about the right place. Got the door lock to cut through, so just going to cut a slot for that to poke through. Like so. And then got the door lock, which I'm pretty sure is up here where that hole in the door is. So I'm just going to do the same thing here, just put it across and across for that to come through. There's a hole there for the armrest, so again just a little cross, and then there's another one up here. Try not to cut the wires, that's a good idea. Right, apart from that, it's just the plug holes. Little cross. There's another one of those right there. Another one up here. I would have preferred to cut nice round holes because they don't tear, or not inclined to tear as badly when you're pulling this on and off at a later stage, but you know, considering I'm spending $5 for a piece of plastic for each side of the car, I reckon we can afford it. Okay, are we good? I think we are. I think we can put a door trim on. One driver's side door trim. So, the only thing I think I need to do at the moment is get the door power for the door lock through. You do the rest from the outside because it's got the screws. Yep. Da-da-da. Yep. Okay. Oh, look at that. Wire's broken off. These door lock switches or connections, I've already had to do the passenger side, put it right apart and solder all these wires back in. And looks like we're doing the same with this side now too. Whoa. Okay. Tricks. Come on. Where have we gone? Okay. Oh, don't you disappear on me now. Sort of hangs there. That's that. That's through. That's through. So it's really just a case of getting the pins located now, I guess, and we're good to go. That's that one. Oops. Well, that little fool just broke my mic, so I had that about a week. They line up. That's always good. They all line up, do they? Miracle. I'm actually on. That's amazing. Look at this. Brand new door trims. Door handle trims, I should say. Another little item I picked up when I was over in America recently. Just simply go there. One screw. Nice. Okay, so I'm just trying to finish off this driver's side door panel, and had issues yesterday. Just trying to install the door lock. As you can see, a couple of these lost, the little clip broken off the end here, and these little clips here go into this little plastic housing and clip in there, and then the door lock pushes, or at least the door lock switch pushes onto the back there, and the pins engage in those 5 holes to work the lock. So I've got to do my probably least favourite job, I think, of any, and that's soldering. I just have such a hard time with it. But anyway, I've got the 2 pins, or the 2 clips that came off, to solder onto the end of those 2 bare wires there, and I'll get those soldered on, put some heat shrink on them, and I think this one here is looking a little bit iffy as well, so I'll just reinforce that one a bit as well, and then I can reassemble it into this doodacky, and then there's a plastic cover that goes over top of it to glue on, and then I can install the door lock. So yeah, I'll get on with that. Alright, so here's my door lock switch all back together. That little back plate there, when they assemble these, that gets melted on. I guess this has little tabs that come through holes, and they press it on and melt it on, so you've got to lever it off and then clean it up so you can glue it back on. So a little bit of contact glue, super glue is what I've used to glue that back cover back on here in place. And you can see I've got my 2 wires there with some heat shrink wrap on. That's the ones I repaired, and the rest are okay. So this is now good to put back in the door, and I've just done a little test to make sure it's actually working, and as you can see, just really, actually off the remote, really positive. So we're good to go. And then from there, I've just got the door rest to put on, or sorry, the arm pull door rest handle, something like that. As you can see, colours, it's unusual colour, but it's a little bit lighter than what it should be, but that's the colour they came with, or something very close to it at least. It'll look better once it's all together, and I can get back and show you. And then after that, I'm going to move on to the centre console part that I'm going to colour match the same, so I'll show you that in a little bit. Alright, so here is the door all zipped up again. This is actually about a week following the last little clip there. That door handle there just fought me, just trying to get that back on. It turns out that the self-tapping screws that hold that on were just, well, the holes that they screw into were just flogged out from years of taking on and off, I guess. So I actually had to go buy some captive nuts that clip on to the existing brackets, and now it's got, instead of self-tapping screws, they've got threaded bolts that hold that on, so it's a lot more secure and locates a little bit easier trying to put it on. But man, that thing fought me. Silly little job. It took me far too long to get sorted out, but anyway, it's on there, looking good. As I was talking about, the colour is different to everything else, but that's what it's supposed to be apparently, or something very close to that colour. And my neighbour's just going to do some lawns now, so that's helpful. And that should match the centre console armrest dealio here, so I will be altering, painting that just to suit. And then I'm just over onto the passenger side door there. You can see I've got the plastic put on and taken back off again, and that's because as I was about to close the door up, that door lock on that side decided that the one of the wires was going to let go. So one of the wires that I didn't repair previously failed and came disconnected, so I'll take you over there in a minute to show you what I've had to do there. And I'm still waiting for my new heater core to turn up. It was supposed to be here yesterday, but we've had some major shipping delays here due to the weather, so hopefully that'll be here on Monday now. So just to show you what I've had to do here yesterday, so it's this orange wire here, which is the main power wire, that broke as I was trying to put the door back together, and it just broke off from where it joined to the little metal holder there. And I was trying to get that little, you can see what they look like, these little metal terminals that the power lock pushes into. I was trying to get it out of there with a screwdriver, and it came out alright, and it flicked away to somewhere I can never find it. So that left me with trying to find a solution to replace it. So you can see what I've done there. I've actually, in my little parts holder here, I've got one of these little spade terminals and bent it to fit in there, and then reconnected it, and it pushes in there nicely, sits down where it should do, so that should be good to go again. I'm just going to test that now and make sure it is getting a good connection before I go ahead and close this up. Then I've just got to put the little cover that goes on the back here and glue that on, seal it up, and it should be good to go again, and then I can get this door zipped up, and that'll be the doors finished. Okay, so there's my little connecting block for the door lock. The back's glued on best I could. It's secure, so you can see the 5 holes there where the door lock plugs into. So the last thing I'll do is with the door lock is give that a little spray with my contact oil, just to stop it, keep the connections nice and clean. That goes on after the door panel goes on, so I'm finally ready to put this plastic on the door and start zipping this door up. So that should just sit up here now, run around here with this double-sided tape, and job's done. Alright, finally get this door panel on, get this door zipped up. It seems like it's taken way too long to get this little job done, but that's what happens when you mess around with old cars. So you start playing with things start breaking. But anyway, I think we're good. I have checked it. It is that connecting block is making a good contact with that new little terminal that I had to make for it. So then we're back in business. Let's get this door panel back on. Okay, so as you can see here, pretty tight little space I'm working with here. I can give myself some more room if I wanted to, but I think I'll be okay. I've got the door panel, so let's see how we go. See if I can get these new clips to line up. And the rest, it's pretty straightforward here, so should go on about there. Of course, nothing ever fits like it should when the camera's rolling. There's my door lock switch right there to come through. Get that through without breaking any more wires. That'd be nice, wouldn't it? Okay, so let's see if these pins line up, shall we? First one did. Along the bottom here that aren't quite lining up, so see if I can get down here and see what's going on. Oh my goodness, jeez, getting down one thing, getting back up, well, that's a whole other story. Okay, where's the hole? to there. Yep. That one lines up. And that one there lines up. So that's it. All right. Okay. We're getting there. Oh, jeepers. No problem. Now it's just a case of putting the other few bits and pieces on. I don't know if you guys can hear me over my neighbour's. He just loves getting out there and using his tools. I know. You can't blame a guy for that, I suppose. So I'm just locating where the holes are in the door for these are. Just make sure they're within the QE. And that one should be right there. Yes. Should be going through that penny washer that I've put in the back there now as well. That just guarantees that corner stays on, I suppose. Carpet sort of hides the screw. There's the other one right there. So this side, I'm hoping will go on better than the last side. So this one, I'm just going to stay with the self-tapping screws because it seems like it hasn't been on and off as many times, and so the screws are holding on pretty well. So we're going to use these original self-tapping screws again and see how this goes. Hopefully it won't take a half a day to put an armrest on like it did the other side. So I've just got to feed the lock lever through the armrest. Like that. Now, can I locate the fixing points? Really? First time? Are you kidding me? Okay, so if I can hold that there in that place, in theory, that screw will just go, you know, straight in the hole. Because, you know, why wouldn't it? You're kidding me. This is actually going to work. My goodness. Alright. Let's see if the front one's going to be the same. Where are you? See? This is the problem you've... Yeah, there it is it? Alright. See? It really should be just right there. But it's not right there. So, the search continues. So bizarre. It's frustrating because you can't see what you're doing. You know, the holes should be right there. But it's not. I'm going to end up pulling this off again just to satisfy myself there's actually a hole there. That's how ridiculous this gets. So the dance continues. Off she comes. That one's loose. So, see? There's a hole right there. I can see you. You're looking at me. So, if I try starting the front one first, you know, that would seem to make sense, right? Makes no sense to me. I've fought this so many times on the other side. Is that it? Is that the hole? Are you in? I'm not convinced you're in. You don't feel like you're in. You're not in, are you? For goodness sake. I can literally, actually, oh, look at that. Is that how you're supposed to do it? So now, let's try the back one. There. Goodness. Am I really going to be this lucky with this side? Okay, started. Okay, so before I get too carried away, I'm going to attempt to do the front one. And the same theory. Locate the hole with a little tool here first. Gonna see if I get lucky with this one. And we're not. The old, where's the hole trick? And I'm not going to make any childish jokes because, you know, I'm not that person anymore. There's the hole. This is probably the most frustrating job I've had on this car to date. What should be just a simple installation just turns into a nightmare because I can't locate the holes through the armrest. And it sounds ridiculous, right? You think, oh, well, how hard can it be? Trust me, I know what you're thinking. But, there, that's the hole. Right? So, in theory, I now put that screw through the armrest. There we go. And then follow with the screwdriver until it starts. And that feels good. I think I've got it. I've got it. Oh, my goodness. That's a relief. Because, man, I tell you what, that driver's side just fought me tooth and nail until I just put the bullet and pulled the whole thing apart again and put in the clips, the captive nut clips, I guess you call them, which made life a whole lot easier. So I think the key is just firm, but don't twist your arm off trying to get these screws in. The front one here is probably the most important one because that's the one that does all the work here in this. We're done. Wow, that's really good. Alright, so now I can go ahead and put the door lock in. I've already got it pre-sprayed with my oil here, battery 2-minute oil. It just helps keep the corrosion off. So that plugs in. So, pushes back in the hole. And then the retaining clips on the door panel. And it just pushes in like so. So again, nice to have these new parts. I can show you actually the original ones just to show you what I've done here. should be able to see this. Here's the old door lever, rusty, and the old escutcheon, broken, cracked, pretty nasty looking. So switch those both out for the new one, and we've got a brand new looking door handle. The only thing I don't like about these new ones is this movement, which I've only just sort of realised after doing the last door. So that's the old one, sorry, that's the reproduction one, and this is the old original one, which is, it's got no movement in it, literally no movement. So obviously you can't beat original equipment. I didn't compare them side by side to see where that difference was. Not a biggie. I mean, it works fine, it's just I don't like that. I don't like it so much that I can see myself going back one day and trying to improve that. However, it ain't today. Door lock knob can go on, and so I guess what I should do is now just test the lock. There's power. Yeah. So it's working. It's not as positive as it had been, and I think it's just battery power. I'm just down on battery is what I'm going to put it down to. So I'm not going to worry about it right now. It's working. Let's see if the remote works. That remote is not working. What about this one? I've got two remotes. Yeah, it's working. So I might just have to program that second remote. Okay, so I'm happy with that. It's working, and I can improve on that, I think. I've got a little bit of tidy up work to do here on this panel, but overall it's in a lot better condition or shape than it was. The carpet's looking better, grey instead of green, which is nice. And also the window's now nice and firm in the door, it doesn't rattle around. And so when you shut the door, now it doesn't rattle so badly when you close the door. It's noticeably better. So I'm calling that side done. I'll have a bit of a tidy up here now, and then show you what's on the agenda next. Okay, well that's a good job done. Those doors are now zipped up, and everything's working as it should do, and looking a whole lot better. So now I'm going to turn my attention back to the front here. I'm still waiting for a heater core to come in for this car. It was due in yesterday, Friday, but we've had some major weather systems come through the country, which has caused some havoc along the lines of shipping. So I'm not expecting to see that heater core now until early next week, Monday or Tuesday, I hope. But to preempt that coming in, I do need to pull the heater box out of the front of this car, so that's going to be my next task, and that involves removing those centre gauges there again, and pulling out the glove box and the associated ducting for the heater, and that should allow for the heater box to come out of behind there, and then the heater core is inside that. So it's a bit of a job. I've watched a couple of videos that some Corvette owners have done on YouTube on replacing it. Being that I'm halfway pulled apart, obviously that helps somewhat, but no doubt there'll be some fun getting that out of there. So that's my next task. Got to have a working heater, so let's get into that. Well, that's the end of this episode. We're making good progress here on the Corvette though. Still lots to do, so make sure you come and check out the channel next time and see what I'm up to. Thanks for watching.